Alright guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Rowlands, Nutritional Balancing Practitioner, and kind of enjoying these car monologues. My partner lives around half an hour away from me, 25 minutes, so gives me an opportunity to fill some time, I guess. In this video I wanted to talk about loneliness, because loneliness is a big problem today, and I think it's much more complex than people are fully aware of. Loneliness is not just about not being around people. It's so many other different things so many different other things that I'm going to try and speak about in this video, and you'll understand why most people are lonely, and hopefully how to sort of quench your loneliness. Now, I've suffered from loneliness in the past, not so much lonely now, because I've dealt with all of the issues of loneliness. But if one of the issues would break down for whatever, one of the aspects of loneliness that I've managed to plug in would break down, then that bit of loneliness will kind of rear its head again. The best way I found to understand loneliness is actually to understand how we lived in the past, when we used to live in tribes and settlements. That's the best way to figure out how loneliness works, because we weren't lonely. It's only a recent phenomenon whereby we feel lonely. So let's just go back to that tribal setting, because it's the easiest way, in my opinion, to understand loneliness. So one aspect of loneliness is being around people, of course. And you was around people 24/7. If you was if you kind of was removed from the group for whatever reason, maybe you got lost, usually you got lost, a stress response would begin, because your biology knows that you need to get back to the camp or you will die. So when people say that being lonely is as damaging as being a smoker, then that's true, because you will generally go into a chronic fight or flight response because you're not around your tribe, you're not around the camp. And the second thing really is feeling lonely but you're still around people. What's all that about? I still feel lonely but I'm around people still. Well, one of the reasons is that you're around people that don't have the same values as you, don't have the same ideas as you, don't have the same mindset as you. Some of my old friends, I used to feel lonely when you used to hang around with them, and I used to understand, I didn't realise why. I'm like, it's really frustrating, because I was feeling lonely, I would go and meet people and then I would still feel lonely. And why is that? And I realised it's because these people don't understand me. We don't have the same spiritual views, we don't eat the same, we don't think the same, we were very dissimilar, and that inhibits loneliness. My friends now, very, very similar, very similar really. We all eat the same, we all think the same, we all laugh about the same things, we all like to dance and sing and make art and stuff. We're quite creative individuals, light workers, so I'm not feeling lonely anymore. And again, if you lived in a tribe, you would all have the same spirituality, you would all think the same, you would share the same creation myths, you would share the same stories. And these days, especially if you're sort of a light worker, sensitive individual, and you go into school, you're not going to be necessarily around them sorts of people all the time. So that's the second aspect of loneliness, really, is not being around people who are similar to you, who think the same. Another aspect of loneliness is not feeling heard. So you can be around people, you can be around people that share the same values as you and the same mindsets, but you'll still experience a bit of loneliness. why is that? Because you're not feeling heard. You don't feel part of the group. Do you know what I mean? People, you don't, how can I put this? You're not respected in the group, if that makes sense. So in my group, I feel that I bring a lot of knowledge to the group. I feel like I make people smile. I feel like people like to speak to me. I'm like a shoulder to cry on sometimes. So I have worth. I can be heard, and that also coincides with having gifts. Feeling like you're being heard, and also having gifts to give people. One way of doing that was for me to do this YouTube channel, because it's one thing being around these people, but if you can't give anything, if you don't feel like you're contributing, if your knowledge, your gifts, your skills, they're not being branched out, then that's another feeling of loneliness. That's the third feeling of loneliness. So when you're in a tribe, you generally, after a while, the tribe would figure out what gifts you have. You might have a gift for singing, you might have a gift for playing instruments, you might have a gift for hunting, you might have a gift for, building shelter. So you don't feel useless, you feel like you have worth in the community. So that's another aspect of loneliness. So what are we on? 3? I suppose being heard and having gifts sort of come under 1. So, we're on 3 or 4 at the moment. So let's say 5. Sexual relationship loneliness. And I think this comes down to a lot of things. Biologically, we feel a need to be with a partner, mainly for offspring. The yin and the yang, yearning for the yin. If you're a yang, if you're a guy, that connection that a lot of people feel like they're lacking, can often come from a partner. And especially if you're with a partner that's grounded and you feel safe and secure around, that aspect of loneliness will be quenched. And it's important to find a partner that you feel safe around and secure and you can trust, because if you don't find that person, they might be a really joyful, happy, good laugh sort of person, but if they don't make you feel safe and secure and you don't feel like you can trust them, that aspect of loneliness wouldn't be quenched. And again, if you live in a tribal community, you have a shared fate. It's in everyone's best interests to trust each other. If you can't trust someone in the tribe, that's a big problem. You could die because someone would make a big mistake. And the whole tribe's at risk. So I'm trying to think of some more aspects of loneliness. There's another aspect of loneliness of just living with people. It's one thing having friends, but if you live by yourself, you're not around, you're not living with people, you're not, you wake up in the morning, you're eating your breakfast by yourself, you get home at night and you're by yourself, that might be okay for a while if you just maybe split with parents and stuff, but usually after a while it kind of grinds on you a lot, and again, we are used to sleeping next to another body, we're used to getting up in the morning and the first thing we see is someone else, so that's probably another aspect. So that's 6 parts of loneliness there that all need to be quenched. So for me, I had to meet new friends. Number 1, be around people. Number 2, meet friends that I resonate with, because no point being around friends you don't resonate with, because you'll feel lonely still. Feel like I'm heard, feel like I'm part of the group, feel like people listen to me, feel like, people, I've got things to say, people respect me, I've got gifts to share with the world. It might be, you might be raising children, that's your gift. It might be, looking after someone, it might be whatever. You know, you might have the gift of humour, you know, whatever it is. Sexual relationship, you know, that yearning for the yin, yearning for the yang sort of thing. You know, you don't necessarily need them, but there's always, you know, we are yin and yang, and you are going to yearn for it. You know, that's just part of biology, and you know, if you get it right, it does definitely help. And then the last one is the, you know, so I've got a partner for that. Sorry, I was saying, yeah, so the gifts one, you know, for me it's YouTube channel, web design, you know, I feel like people enjoy being around me, like, you know, good laugh. And then I've got a partner, she's grounded, she's secure, I can trust her, you know, we think the same, she's doing the program, all that helps. And then finally, living with someone. I haven't quite got this down. I do live with someone. I do have a flatmate, but you know, I personally like to be around more people in my living quarters. You know, I've always felt the best when I was in my family home, for example, around my sisters and my parents, or when I used to live in student accommodation and I used to live with 5-6 people. And you know, I think the reason is because of that instinct, that tribal instinct to be around, you know, multiple people. So that's that. If you can quench all of them, then you are going to feel much less lonely. You know, I suppose there's another aspect of loneliness which I should add on to that, number 7, which is probably the loneliness of living in a society which is so chaotic and everyone's an individual. Because you don't, you know, and this kind of rounds everything up. You know, if you go from this tribal community where everyone knows each other, everyone's got the same mindset, the same spiritual views, and then you put that person in this world, everything's different. Do you know what I mean? We've got a KFC, Costa Coffee, Aldi, and McDonald's. None of these people I've met before. You know, we're all in these weird cars that are just driving past each other. It's you know, society just as a whole can make you feel lonely, and that's why I try and stress to try and concentrate on the people around you, get away from, you know, mobile phones too much and you know, computers and stuff, because you're living in this false world, and you know, you've got to make your own little community, your own little bubble. Alright, so thanks for watching. If you want to get in touch, email me, Lewis, Leys, at deephealingspace.com, and I'll chat to you all soon.